And welcome to another edition of Two Steps Ahead Podcast. Two Steps Ahead Podcast encouraging you to take your passion, make it happen, let yourself be great. I'm Son Edom, and coming up on the show, we're going to talk about something that I allude to in a lot of shows that I do, but we're going to focus more intently on it, and that is, what is success? What is the measure of your success? What does success look like? And is it the same for everybody? So that's what we're going to talk about on the show is success. And as we get started, I thought maybe we'd take a look at what a definition of success might be, so we are kind of on the same page as we get started. So success, in parentheses, the opposite of failure. It's the status of having achieved and accomplished an aim or objective. Being successful means the achievement of desired visions and planned goals. Furthermore, success can be a certain social status that describes a prosperous person that could also have gained fame or a favorable outcome. The dictionary describes success as the following: attaining wealth, prosperity, and or fame. So that definition right there came from LinkedIn. LinkedIn obviously is a website, an app, I guess, or an app and website that deals with a lot of business-related stuff. It's becoming more and more of a social media, which I've seen complaints on there about. But it started out as like a business relationships, connecting with other business people. And so that's a definition that I got off of LinkedIn. I thought LinkedIn would be a good place to get it because a lot of people go there for success in business. But what is success today? What is success that we know of? Okay, so we've got the definition there. Okay, it's attaining wealth, prosperity, fame. It's being successful is achieving a desired vision or planned goals. It could be a social status. So success really can be a lot of different things. Now, I think back in the old days, okay, maybe the 50s and 60s, kind of, maybe even the 50s and 40s. Although, now that I think about it, the 40s had World War II, and the 60s became the counterculture revolution. So somewhere in the 50s, I guess, we had this definition of success. And that was you go to school. After high school, you go to college. And then from college, you would get a job, a corporate job or a career-minded job, get married, have kids. What was it, 3.5 kids? Buy a house, 2 dogs or a dog. And then you work your way up the corporate ladder. You take family vacations. You retire and you go play golf. And then car dealerships even had, I think Chrysler and maybe some of the Chevrolet and some of those kind of long-standing car dealerships had cars based on your level of success. So if you were a beginner, you would have a beginning level car, a cheaper car, a smaller car. And then as you gained in success and you went up the corporate ladder, your cars would get bigger, more luxurious because you can afford them. And I think Chrysler was one of the first ones that kind of came up with that concept. And that's what you have today. I mean, if you take a look at, let's say, Kia, you have the Forte, and then eventually maybe you get the Optima, and then maybe you get some sort of crossover, and then you can get into the exotic Stingers and things like that. Honda has the same thing. And so a lot of cars now still kind of have that framework. But of course, now with the way we are and the way our lives are, cars even have changed in how they market to other people. Marketing has even changed. And so that was kind of the old days of success. You got your high school education, then your college education, your job, married, family, vacations. You grew in the corporate ladder. You went up the corporate ladder and got promotions and raises, and then you retired, and that was a successful life. But today, I think success is fluid. I think it can be ever-changing depending on life. Someone asked me what I thought a normal life was, especially in the last couple of years. You know, hey, do you think we'll get back to normal? What's a normal life? And I always thought, what's normal? Give me a definition of normal. And they would go back to kind of a traditional normalcy, And I was thinking, well, no life is normal. Just like success. No success is the same. No success is normal. There's no normal success. I mean, think about it. When I was in high school, you talked about going to college and getting a job and what jobs weren't available. Okay, think about this. Cell phone technology. We could not go and get a job in cell phone business because that cell phone technology didn't exist in the way it does today. So I couldn't go to Verizon or T-Mobile or AT&T or any number of those places and get a cell phone and work in the cell phone business. Now, the telephone business obviously was there, but that cell phone business wasn't there. Or what about some other things? You think about new markets and new careers. What about Airbnb, online technology nowadays? You think of Airbnb. You think of DoorDash, Lyft, Uber. A lot of kind of that independent contracting that you can do. What about investing? Remember when you wanted to invest, you had to get an investment broker, and then they would kind of advise you what to do, or basically tell you what you were going to do with your money. Now you can go to any number of apps, Robinhood, for example, and invest on your own. And not only do you have 401ks, but you can now invest yourself in individual stocks and portions of stocks. And now you can invest in cryptocurrency. So the world has changed, and people have access to things in different ways and at different stages in life. So these new careers, these new markets, job markets that are opening up, have kind of redefined what success is. Owning your own business has become a lot easier nowadays. And so people are starting to look into owning their own businesses or doing what they call side hustles too. So basically society told us, here's the box. You're going to live in this box. So if we put a box on the wall, that's where we're supposed to live. But what about the wall outside the box? What are we supposed to do with that? Remember growing up, you're not supposed to color outside the lines? Well, what about the whole page outside the lines? What can we do with that? How can we create a masterpiece outside the lines? And so don't live in that box is what I would tell people, especially students when I taught them. Society tells you this is what success is. This is where you live your life. But you can color outside the lines. You can paint your canvas. You don't have to be stuck in that box. And getting outside that box is uncomfortable for a lot of people. A lot of people can't do that. They want to be in that box. They want to be in a place where society says is comfortable. But for a lot of us, living outside the box becomes where we become great and we achieve success. So what is success? Well, let's take it to the streets. Let's find out what people on the streets might think of when we say, what is success?
I define success as...
Oh my gosh, you have challenged me right there.
I define, okay.
I guess,
I don't know.
Success means motivation, passion, determination.
Going to Disneyland.
Just kicking down fear and doing what I have to do to survive.
I define success by the amount of likes I receive on Instagram.
I guess how I would define it would be the smiles that I see on my wife and kids' face each and every day I come home. That lets me know what I'm doing is worthwhile and to keep going.
I would describe it in one word: sincerity.
Achieve the goals that you set for yourself.
I started my Instagram account back in 2012. At that time, I had just lost my job, and it was one of those rare moments when I felt like I had time to really think about what I wanted to do with my life. I fell in love with Instagram. Now I do that as my job.
I want to go back to law school to help change laws and also to improve society and the world understanding of people in general, especially those who are deaf and hard of hearing.
I've thought about going back to school, even online, because I don't think I could sit in a classroom with youngsters. They probably call me grandma.
Actually had a child at 22. I never really had time to go back to school, but He turned 5, and I went back, and I got my high school diploma at 27.
One of the goals I set for myself many years ago was to have a happy family, and I think I've been successful in that.
My first love is, besides my wife, is music. I feel like I just have a lot to say to the world.
I want to be the #1 Instagrammer in the world.
Waking up with the complete biggest smile on your face, knowing that you're going to make it.
I would tell people to follow their gut.
It's never too late to do anything.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
To embrace others for who they are.
I think we all deep down know what we want to do in this world.
And don't be afraid to be you.
So different people had different definitions of success. Success means different things to different people. So you have things such as going to Disneyland. Little girl said Disneyland. That's a definition of success. Some want it to be their likes on Instagram. Smiles from their family. Sincerity. Not too many of them mentioned wealth or possessions, material things, except I guess maybe likes on Instagram. A child at the age of 22 gets her high school diploma at the age of 27. A lot of people might think that getting the diploma at 27, why even bother going back? But see, that's success to somebody. Some might think of diploma at 27 as a failure in high school, but she went back, never gave up, and we'll touch on that. Happiness, music. So success can be different things to different people. But I would ask you this question. What is success to you? Have you defined what success is for you? Not what other people tell you success is or define success for you, but do you have a definition of success that you're trying to achieve in life? Because that's what it comes down to. You'll notice as we go through the show, it's going to come down to you. You deciding what success is. You defining what success is for you. And when you do that, you're going to realize that being a successful person is a lot more attainable. You can achieve it because you're not worried about what everybody else is saying. You're not worried about what they're doing, how they look at you. It's all about you. Oftentimes people say, you know what? That's selfish, making it about you. But is it really? Because the better you are, the more successful you are, success breeds success. So these family guys in here that were talking about the smiles on their family or loving their wife first, then music, or the having the son at 5 years old and then getting her high school diploma. Can you not tell me that if she went back and got her high school diploma at the age of 27 with a 5-year-old, maybe it took her time away from her son to get that diploma? And someone might think that's selfish. Why are you taking time away from your son? You need to be there for your son. But wait, now she has her high school diploma. What doors have opened up? How greater could her son's life be by going out and doing that? And then maybe she goes on to college, or maybe she gets a career, or does a job, or opens her own business, whatever it might be. So sometimes thinking about us and putting ourselves first can be very beneficial because the success that we have becomes benevolent on others, and their success can rise, or their lifestyle can be better. So what is success? Again, we've talked about it can mean anything pretty much. It means different things to different people. We talked about the definition of success from LinkedIn. You know, it's an opposite of failure, obviously. Having achieved or accomplished an objective, I guess, to simplify something, achieving a desired vision or planned goal. So there's an objective, I'm going to achieve it. Could be something as simple as going to Disneyland. Could be something as simple as making music, getting a GED, a high school diploma. But really, what else, when we say success, what else is success?
In our societies, we use the word success a lot. And we think we know just what it means: money, status, fame, and power. But take a look in the dictionary, and things start to look, thankfully, a lot more complicated. Because success is, in truth, rather more neutral and less value-laden than we tend to assume. It just means doing anything well, excelling at something. And that might encompass a lot of different activities. running 100 meters for sure, selling your app for a lot of money, okay. But also stranger, less heralded things, like listening a lot, very attentively to a child, or being extremely kind to strangers, or filling your mind with interesting ideas and associations, or knowing just when to put an arm around someone when it's too much for them. People who triumph here are also big success stories.
See, success is basically just excelling at something. That's what it comes down to. It could be great things. It could be little things. A lot of times we like to think of success as status, fame, money, likes on Instagram, cars we drive. A lot of movies we watch kind of influence us to think what success is. A lot of social media influencing going on to help us define what success is. But what if success is just enriching your mind, showing kindness to somebody else, listening? We talked about that last time. What the purpose is and why it is that we should become better listeners. So what if we just achieve that? That can be success. Becoming a better listener. Having compassion on other people. So success isn't just defined by something, by achieving something, but it could be something being achieved that's great or small. It doesn't have to be grandiose. A lot of times we think that, you know what, I can't be successful or I don't matter because I'm not doing these great things. Like that Instagram guy. He likes many likes, and that's great. But what if he was just influencing, and he said he wanted to be the biggest influencer on Instagram? Go for it. But what if you influenced one person for the good? What if it's just one person? That's a success. Sure, you might want the dreams of having the huge success of influencing millions of people. But what if you influenced one person for the positive? What if you said one thing that captured somebody's attention and it changed their focus? What if somebody heard that a 27-year-old can go back and get their high school diploma? Now somebody else wants to go and do that. Or what if just a kind word, an arm around somebody, showing compassion, lifts somebody's spirits? We don't know what that's going to impact or how great that's going to impact somebody. But that could be success. So when we look at it, we got to look at it from the perspective that success can include a lot of things, great and small, and it could mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. But ultimately, it comes down to defining success for you. And what levels of success do you want to achieve? What's the daily levels of success we want to achieve? You know, there was a basketball team that I did some games for one time broadcasting, and their slogan was go 1-0 today. Just go 1-0 today. They didn't worry about the entire season. They were worried about today. Go 1-0 today. Win today. And if you win today, and you win today, and you win today, because tomorrow never comes, it's always today, 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 you start winning those little battles or those little games, those little days. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. Sure, we'll have setback. But what if we just win today? Whatever that success, that definition of success that you have decided to make it. Then you'll start to feel better about yourself, start to get confident. You'll start to realize that, yeah, there is greatness in you. You can raise the standard. You can have a positive influence on other people, help them bring out their inner greatness, raise their standard. But it comes down to your definition of success.
Today, what I want to explore with you is what's your definition of success? And the reason why I emphasize your definition is because we talked about living intentionally. This is what all this work is about, is how can you create the life, both personally and professionally, that you desire? How can you get more aligned with that voice inside that wants to be more of who you are at the core? And so what does that look like for you? And I say your definition because I talked about how I grew up believing that there were a certain set of equations that I needed to pursue, a particular path in order to reach success. And what I recognized was that was everybody else's definition of success. I didn't even know what my own definition was because I was too busy living everybody else's definition. And then I got to a point in my life where I did a whole 180. Some people call that a midlife crisis. I prefer the word transformation because what I was really doing was aligning with that voice inside, with who I really am at the core. And I started to ask myself and to listen to that voice. What do I want? What does success look like for me?
See, that's what it comes down to. What does success look like for you? She was following the equation that life gave her for success. She was following the path that was already laid out for her. So other people's definition versus your definition of success. That's what it comes down to. Now, it's okay to adapt and adopt other people's version of success if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that. You got people out there that are mentors, that life coaches, and maybe other people that will help guide you through life, teachers, family members, spiritual advisors. And so you want to follow maybe the guidance that they give you, and that's okay. But is it you, or is it you living what they want you to live? And that's something that you have to decide. So live outside that box. Don't let others define success for you. And again, it comes down to what is success for you. So once we've had our definition of success, okay, we've laid it out, whatever it might be. This is the success that I want. These are the individual successes that I want. These are the daily ones. These are maybe more long-term ones. You know, maybe success is getting up in the morning and getting to work on time. Maybe success is being home a little bit more. Maybe success is achieving a promotion at work, so you work hard. Maybe success is attaining a certain amount of wealth. Maybe success is starting something that you've always wanted to do. Maybe play a musical instrument. Maybe join a gym. Maybe do whatever it is. Starting can be a success. So starting is a success. Then achieving milestones along the way can be a success. And then ultimately, you're performing at the Grand Ole Opry or Radio City Music Hall. Huge success. So there's little successes along the way that build, leading to bigger successes, and then the ultimate dream success. But how do we get there? What's the path? It all begins with the mind. We've talked about it several times on podcasts. Mindset is everything. And this is one of my favorite clips that I love to play, and I like to play it a lot because it reminds people. It's your mentality. It comes down to your mentality, your mental state. Mindset is everything.
If the lion is the king of the jungle, how can he be the king of the jungle? If he's not the biggest, the elephant is probably one of the biggest. He can't be the fastest because that's a cheetah. He can't be the smartest. So he's not the biggest, the fastest, or the smartest. So how does the lion become the king of the jungle? His mentality. That's the only difference of a lion and an elephant. When a lion walks up and sees an elephant, he thinks lunch. An elephant thinks run. It's all mentality. Because when a male lion walks up, he may be outnumbered by a pack of hyenas, but I'm king of my jungle because of my mentality.
Are you king of your jungle because of your mentality? See, once you set your definition of success, you have to have the mindset to go after it. You have to have the belief in you that you can achieve that you can go after it, and you can make those steps, and you can move forward and make success possible. Because if you have your definition of success, but you don't believe that you can do it, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get that success that you want. Mindset is everything. If you believe you can do it, you can. If you believe you can't do it, you're going to be correct too. If you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. It's just one letter. T. Can and can't. Do away with that. Do away with the apostrophe. Can. Start with baby steps. Believe in yourself. That's one of the things in teaching and education that I think was always heartbreaking or was always kind of frustrating, really. It got kind of like knock these kids' heads against the wall and be like, dude, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Because they didn't believe in themselves. They wanted it. They had the passion for it. They had the drive for it, but they didn't believe they can do it. But they can. Reminds me of a story. There was this gal who wanted to do radio, and so she was in several of my classes. And one of the classes was a summer class where we would do a live 2-hour, 3-hour radio show every single day. And each student in the class had to participate and be on air and do other various jobs and duties. So basically it was an accumulation of everything they had done during the year put into one show. And so I made this girl be on air, which she wanted to do. But she was so gun shy because she felt that she was going to fail. So I said, just go in there and give me 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I think the segment was a 5-minute segment. Just give me 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Just give me a little bit. So she goes into the studio and we're getting ready to get her on the air. And I told everybody in the class that was outside the studio watching, I said, listen, she's going to do this. She's going to get her 5 minutes and she's going to come out and she's going to say it was great. And she wants to do it over and over and over again. I guarantee it. So she does her segment. 1 minute becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 6. We're like, dude, cut it off. What are you doing? We're going too long. We got to hit the commercial break. She comes out. She was excited. She loved it. She said she wanted to do it over and over and over again. Little bit of success, but she needed that push, that encouragement to know that she could do it. I knew she could do it, but she had to get out of her own way. And oftentimes success, the difference between success and I don't want to say failure, but maybe not achieving the success that we want is ourselves. Get out of our own way. Because if we get out of our own way, we allow ourselves to have success. We allow ourselves to get that mindset right, to have that lion mentality, to go after that pack of hyenas, to think lunch, not run. To have that aggressiveness in us, to chase it. One of the things I wanted to do in a pre-internet world was find a job in radio. That's one of the hardest things to do, especially pre-internet. A lot of legwork. But I kept going. Eventually found one. That led to another one. And then ultimately back to LA. But it's that persistence. We have to be persistent in achieving our goals. We have to be able to hold ourselves accountable to that plan to achieve that success. So we make the definition of success. Whatever it is to us, we have that definition in our mind. This is what success means to me. This is what success looks like, and this is what I want. So we've made that definition. Now we have our mindset right. We're going after it. I'm going to get out of my own way, bringing out my inner greatness, raising the standard. Here we go. Then what? We have a game plan. You have to have a game plan. If you don't have a game plan, forget about it. Have a game plan. Work it out. It might be 2, 3 different versions of your game plan. Maybe you get it in your first try. Maybe you have to adapt, like a football game, go into halftime and do some adjustments because this isn't working, but this is, so we're going to do more of this and less of this. Or start all over, go back to the drawing board, but never giving up. We get our game plan. Now we're ready. We got our definition. We got our mind right. We've got our game plan. Now we have to be persistent. We have to go after it. Because if we don't go after it, we're not going to achieve it. We can't just sit on the couch. I'm out of a job. How many of you were out of a job during the pandemic? We're out of a job. So you sit on the couch, hoping the job comes knocking on your door. It's not going to happen. You have to go out and find, knock on doors, maybe go through online job source places to find something. Call people we know. Find something. We have to do the legwork. Success isn't just going to come if we just sit there. We have to do the legwork. We have to go after it. But it is, whether you believe it or not, you should believe it, because success is doable as long as we have our mindset right.
Listen, getting successful, it's not a magic trick. You can decide to be rich. It's highly doable. But you first have to think it. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is here. I'm no better than none of y'all. If you want to be successful, you have to change this. This has to change. Listen to me. It's not what makes it hard is your lack of belief that it can happen for you. The fact of it is, though, it's very doable. See, but you got to change, though. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So if you're at a place in your life and you ain't happy with it, you have to change some things. But you have to make a conscientious decision that you're going to change. And it's not dependent on anybody else. It don't matter what your mama think. It don't matter what your coworkers think. It don't matter what your siblings think. It don't matter what your children think. It don't matter. They have nothing to do with it. This decision is yours and yours alone.
It's all you, but it's doable. Whatever you want to achieve in life is realistic. It's there. You can do it. It's realistic if we live with realistic expectations. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of people might think, well, aren't you being contradictory? Well, again, if you want to fly to the moon, if you want $1 gazillion, you want to be richer than Steve Jobs, okay, go after it. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying you want to be realistic because you don't want to set yourself up for failure. But like Steve Harvey said, you can be rich. You can go after it. But just have your eyes set on realistic expectations. We've got to throw that in there. Because we don't want you to think that just because we're telling you that it's going to come naturally or it's just going to come easily. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to have to scrap. You're going to have to fight. You're going to have to go after whatever it is you want. So you can do it. It is doable. But just keep in mind that you have to be realistic. How many people go out and try to win the lottery? And you have a realistic expectation of winning. You want to win. You think you can win. Oh, you go to Vegas or other casino places. Maybe you're down south and go to Tupelo, Mississippi, Council Bluffs, Iowa, Atlantic City. And you go out there and you put the money in the slots or on the tables thinking you're going to win. And you have your game plan and your mindset and everything's ready. But what's the realistic expectation of beating a casino, winning the lottery? Sure, it happens, but just be realistic in what you do. But if you have your realistic expectations and you have whatever it is that you have in mind that you want to achieve, go after it. Because remember, when we talked about failure before, failure is just giving up. You don't fail if you continue to go after it. And if you give up, maybe you're just one step away, one tweak of your game plan from having that success that you wanted. That's why you should never give up. Don't ever give up. Go after it. A lot of people, every year, it's always weight loss at the beginning of the year. I'm going to get to the gym. I'm going to lose weight. You can do it. I'm going to get an education, whatever that might be. Maybe it's a trade school. Maybe it's a junior college. Maybe it's a high school diploma. Maybe it's a master's or a PhD or something like that. Go after it. Maybe you want to have better relationships. Go after it. Better friendships. Go after it. Whatever it is, you have that power to change it because you have it in you, but you have to do it. You have to seek out that change. You have to take the initiative. You have to change your mindset. And you might have some help along the way. That's okay. You might have a mentor. You might have a therapist or somebody that you talk to for advice, counselor, an advisor. Maybe you have a doctor to help you with that weight loss, friends along the way, and family. It's okay to have a support group. In fact, I encourage it because going it alone can be very difficult. Oftentimes success, you look at the coaching ranks. Okay, the NFL, we just had the Super Bowl not too long ago. Look at the coaching tree of where the coaches came from. Who were their mentors? Who are they mentoring? And you see these trees that they call them the coaching trees and the leaves on the trees. So you have like, Mike Krzyzewski at Duke and maybe all the people that were assistant coaches under him and where they went, Or maybe you have someone like, I guess Bobby Bowden back in the old days. He was at Florida State, passed away recently. But all the people that he mentored coaching and the success that they went on to have, or Nick Saban. A lot of people out there in the coaching world mentored other people that became competitors, but they took the time to mentor them in their coaching. And those people wanted to learn from these coaches. So they wanted to be successful coaches. So the game plan was to become an assistant at these highly successful programs so they can learn from the best. And so a coach helped mentor you along the way. Maybe you're a player and a former player comes along and helps you along the way. Maybe you're a young broadcaster, a young musician, a young actor. Seek the advice of somebody else. One of the biggest things that people often miss out on was Kobe Bryant. One time there's this iconic photograph of him and Michael Jordan. They're both kind of hunched over on their knees while somebody's shooting free throws. And basically Kobe went up to him to ask him advice about his shooting. Start talking to these guys. Talk to other successful people. Find out how they got there. But again, be true to yourself. So that way you get that information coming in and you can utilize it and you can use it like clay to mold your plan, mold and shape what it is that you want to achieve and utilize it and go after it because you can do it. It doesn't matter what other people think. I've had people tell me that I couldn't achieve a lot of things in life. Not very many, but there are some people that said, you can't do that. I didn't listen to them. I continued to chase my dream, to take my passion and make it happen. So approval is great, but it goes beyond them. And one word to people that are out there that are kind of those friends and mentors and people, don't be a naysayer. Be supportive. You can be realistic. You can help them on their journey. You can be positive, but be realistic. But listen to them. Be there for them. Be a sounding board. But don't just say, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. Whenever someone told me, no, you can't do that, it inspired me to do more and go above and beyond. But be a support for them. Be an encouragement to them. Sometimes we have to learn to fail on our own so that we can learn from that failure. Like the phoenix, rise from the ashes and then go after it and achieve that success that we want. So don't be a naysayer if you're those people surrounding them. And then again, we have to have our commitment to success, because without our commitment, we have nothing. We give up. We have our definition in place. We have our mind right, our mindset. We have that lion's mentality. We have our game plan. We're ready to roll. We're locked and loaded. Here we go. Now we're on that journey. We've got the bumps. We've got the hurdles. We've got the pitfalls. We've got the success. We've got the failure. We've got the people we're talking to. We've got our mentors. We've got everything involved. But do we run out of gas? Do we just give up? I know many people that had this dream and this desire to do something, and then they just kind of gave up. Maybe it was too hard. Maybe going out on the weekends was more important than sacrificing that social time to chase your dreams, like in radio. In radio, I've worked every single holiday. I worked all hours of the clock, sacrificed weekends, time out with friends and family. Now, some of it was in balance, and in the early stages of the career, it probably was out of whack, out of balance, but then you bring it back to balance. Sometimes you have to put in your time, work those long hours, and those unfortunate days that everyone else is off and enjoying it. 4th of July, missing out on fireworks, hanging out with your buds, your friends, family. Sometimes that's required, long hours to be successful, but that's what you want. But that's okay. But if we just give up because we don't want that commitment, we don't want to sacrifice to chase our dreams, to have that success, then we're not going to get there, because we have to have a commitment to success.
Are you committed? Because without commitment, nothing happens. If you're not committed, you're not going to make it. You have to be committed through the storm and the rain and the heartache and the pain and the disappointment. or you're not going to make it. It's a commitment. It's not a feeling. Commitments don't have nothing to do with your feelings. You do it because you're supposed to. While they was golfing, I was studying. While they was shooting hoops, I was studying. While they was playing games and sitting up and eating and joking in the restaurant, I was studying. You can't get out of something that you're not willing to put into it. You have to put your everything, your mind, your energy, your effort, your discipline, your tenacity. Nothing is going to jump out the fire. If you don't throw something in there, it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to put into your dream before you put in. You have to invest in what you dream for. Anybody can dream it, but you'll never see it until you're willing to be committed to it.
Without commitment, nothing happens. You have to invest in yourself. I was on a panel one time at the college I was working at, a success panel, and people asking us all kinds of questions, and we were able to kind of share what we've learned through life, our life lessons. And someone asked the question, what should I invest in? And so the first panelist answered, some financial stuff. And then the second panelist answered in a similar fashion. And then they came to me, and I looked at the person that asked the question, invest in yourself. I remember the guy next to me, I just blurted that out, invest in yourself. The guy next to me said, wow, that's a great answer. And I started to think about it. It was just something that kind of came to me at the top of my head, and I started to think about it. I'm like, that is a great answer. Because if we don't invest in ourselves, who else is? Nobody's just going to come along and invest in you if you're not invested in yourselves. If you don't care about yourself, if you're not going to put in the legwork and the effort, no one's going to come along and do it for you. We like to think they will, but they won't. You got to put in the legwork. In sales, I learned that the biggest thing is that when the customer or the person that you're pitching to says no in sales, that's when your job begins. And more times than not, people are going to tell you no. You don't stop at no. Now, at some point, the sale's not going to happen, and so you got to move on. But that's just the starting point. Are you turned away at that first sign of distress? Or is your mindset going to be attack it, go after it? So if you're working out, if you're going to school, learning an instrument, we have to be committed to those type of things. It doesn't happen overnight, right? If you're working out, it might require 6 months. Weight loss, it might require a couple of months to see some notice. Working out, building those biceps, triceps, calf muscles. Ladies, walking those stairs, getting those calves in shape that you all like to do. Takes some effort, doesn't it? It's not just something that happens overnight. Going to school, depending on what kind of school you're going to, it could take 4 years if you're at a university, maybe more. Maybe 2 to 3 if you're at a community college. Learning an instrument, I guess that would depend on how much time you put into it. If you're sitting in your room all day playing it, then you're probably going to learn it and become a master of it quicker than somebody that picks it up every once in a while. Okay? But you have to put in the time, because without commitment, there's no success. Feelings don't matter when it comes to commitment. Think about the Olympics. It just ended. Maybe you watched it. Maybe you didn't. I heard that nobody really watched it. The ratings were miserable. But think about those athletes, okay? The commitment that they put in to get there, to win, or maybe just to perform at the Olympics, to say they're an Olympian, getting up early. I don't know where you live, but when I woke up this morning, it was freezing cold. I'd like to climb back into bed and call it a day. But got to get up. Got to get out there. Got to put in my time so I can achieve the success that I want. Those are the Olympians. You know they were up early every day for how many years trying to achieve so they can get that success that they want. Maybe it was the gold medal or maybe silver or bronze. How oftentimes we look down on bronze medalists or people that don't even medal, but they're an Olympian. That's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing to call yourself an Olympian, an Olympic athlete. But you got to put in the time and feelings. Oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like doing it. Well, you do it anyways because you're committed to it. because you're not going to let those feelings get in the way, because oftentimes feelings can be a hurdle. Now, there's times where you're pumped up and you're excited and you're motivated. Then there's times that you're not. That's why you have to be committed. That's why when they say in relationships, it's not about feelings, because you have those euphoric feelings when you first meet somebody, but then 30 years of marriage, those feelings are still there, but it's not based on feelings anymore. It's based on the commitment to that person that you're with. Business partners, same thing. Family members, same thing. You have a connection, but it's a commitment to that family. That's why you got, the cartels, and you've got, the mobs and things like that. It's a brotherhood. It's a commitment to that. That's why they're so entrenched with those people. Maybe the military. Maybe that's a better example. The military. It's about the brother standing next to you. Brother in arms. And so you have that commitment there. What you put in is what you're going to get out. So the more effort you put in, the more you're going to get out, the more success you're going to have. If you put minimal effort in, minimal success is going to come out. So invest in yourself. Have a game plan. Be committed to that game plan. Invest in yourself. Because after all, what it comes down to, another clip that I like to play, like the lion mentality one, where you're going to attack those pack of hyenas. You're going to think lunch. You're not thinking run. Your mind is right, because it starts with the mindset. Everything we know is doable, so we can go after it. But we also have greatness in us. Sometimes we forget that. We forget that we have greatness in us. And a lot of people don't think that. A lot of people don't believe that they have greatness in them. But you know what? You do.
You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. See, I believe that anybody through observation and practice can perform at the level of excellence. But when you're pursuing your greatness, this is worth writing down. You don't know what your limits are, and you act like you don't have any. So I say to you, you have something special. You have greatness within you.
Greatness in you. You believe you have no limits, and you act like you have no limits. No limits. Go after it. It's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Sometimes people think I'm arrogant when I don't think so. I think I'm just confident in my abilities and my skills because I've been working at it. Areas that need improvement, but I realize that because I have realistic expectations. But it's having the confidence in yourself. You've invested in yourself. You've been committed to yourself. Now you have that confidence that that greatness within you is coming out. You take pride in yourself. Talking about a lion, right? A lion, when they travel together in a pride, have pride in yourself. It's no coincidence that we talk about lions and pride and greatness. Because when you think about the animal world, the lion has pride. How many TV shows, cartoons, kids movies, animated shows? The lion. Proud, holding up the baby or whatever. There's a reason for it. So what can we do? How can we be successful? So we've kind of been talking about that throughout the show. How can we be successful? So first of all, these are some easy steps that we can think of as we go through the process of trying to define what success is, how to be successful. And again, the first thing to keep in mind is it's going to vary. It's going to vary from person to person to person because each person is different. You know, think about it. Your life and your lifestyle is different from mine, from somebody else that you might know, maybe your neighbors or another family member or friends or coworkers. Everybody's different. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. Everybody has different interests. I mean, just think about all the music and movies that your friends watch and listen to, and you're like, how can you stand that? So everybody's different, like a snowflake, right? No two people are the same. So first of all, you got to define what success means to you or create that definition of success. Once you do that and you cater it to yourself, then you're going to be in a much better position to achieve it. So define what success means to you and create that definition of success that fits for you. Cater it, sculpt it, make it work for you. Then you have to have the mindset. you have to believe that you can be successful. Because if you don't believe you can be successful, you're not going to be successful. Believe that you can achieve what you set out to do. You're going to start something. You know you can finish it. And therefore, you're going to go after it. Believe that failure is not an option. If you believe failure is going to happen, maybe you need to change that mindset. Sure, failure is going to happen, but if you focus on the failure, you're going to miss out on the success. A lot of people have focused on the failure. Well, I might fail. Why don't you want to do something? I might fail. Oh, yeah? What if you might succeed? Take a different approach to it. Okay, I'm going to try it because I might succeed. It might work. It might be a success. So I'm going to try it. Change the mentality from looking at the negative and focus on the positive. Be the king of your jungle. Go after it. That lion's mentality. So you have your definition, your mindset is right. Now your commitment to success. Be dedicated to that success that you want. Because if you're not dedicated to it, it's not going to happen. Have a work ethic. You want to work hard at it, maybe even harder than your competition. Think those Olympians were out there trying to outwork their opponent? Kobe Bryant and all the greats, they're out there outworking their opponent, trying to get better, trying to one-up them so they can be on top. Persistence, accountability are key. Stay persistent in what you do and be accountable to yourself. And that's where accountability, you might get those mentors and those coaches and those advisors and other people to kind of help keep you accountable, to help get you up in the morning when it's cold outside and the sun hasn't come up yet, or working the later hours because there's a deadline to meet, or trying to start up something. Okay? So you've got your persistence and you've got your accountability. The path to success, it will be paved with failure, but don't give up. There will be setbacks. There will be hurdles. There will be things that go on that will make you struggle, but the juice is worth the squeeze, so go after it. It may get frustrating and difficult, but you can change your game plan. You have it in motion, and then you might alter it depending on what happens. You know, you think about, again, going back to sports and sports analogies, a lot of times a team will adopt an offense, let's say. Maybe it's a passing offense, or maybe it's a sweep offense on the run, or maybe it's whatever, okay? And so the other team defends their strength. So the other team's going to defend against the pass. Well, now you have to run. Or maybe they defend against your run, so now you have to pass. So you have to adapt, right? Like a football game. Make those changes, halftime adjustments, adjust to life. Sometimes things are going to work, and then, okay, we got to adjust because this isn't working here. So it may get frustrating, but stick with it. Define what success is to you. Have your mindset. Believe that you can do it. Be committed to that success. Be dedicated. Have a work ethic. Work hard, maybe even harder than your competition, which includes persistence and accountability. Knowing that the path to success might get frustrating, but you're going to stick with it. And then finally, this is the final thing. Are you now ready to go after your dream job, your dream opportunity, whatever it might be? If that position, like I told students in radio, if your dream job, you had an audition, someone came up to you and said, you know what, I want you to audition for this, and this is your dream job, the thing you've been waiting for, the thing you've dreamt about since you were in diapers. Are you ready? And if you're not, why not? And you better get there. Because those opportunities, sometimes luck, who you know, timing, those type of things, those are tangibles that will come into this whole mix. We have to be ready for. And the only thing that we can do to get ourselves ready is to be ready. And so, are you ready for that opportunity? Are you ready for that interview? Are you ready for that dream job? Are you ready to commit to that business, that online business that you've been thinking about, starting the podcast, the music instrument, the weight loss, the education, whatever it might be? Are you ready? If not, you might have to get ready. Build that foundation, because oftentimes it's the foundation that you build and that you lay that's going to keep things going. Without a strong foundation, If you live out in LA and other places that have earthquakes, you know, buildings topple. So you have to have a strong foundation, a base to build upon, and then make sure that structure is solidified with stuff that's not going to topple when the earth shakes. You want to make sure that your game plan, that your path to success, everything that we've been talking about has a solid foundation. So get ready and then start building, because you have greatness within you. You have the ability to bring out that inner greatness. Everything you want to achieve is doable. It's up to you. Can you do it? Will you do it? Will you change your mindset and get it ready? Because it's all there for the taking. So success. What do you think? Is it something you can achieve? Is it something you are achieving? And if you've achieved that success already, are you going to be complacent, status quo, or are you going to go after more success? And then once you've reached success, you know, successful people are always driven. They never give up. They're always going. But if you've reached success, are you now going to help others complete the cycle? Give that advice out. Maybe give some input. Do whatever you can to help others be successful. Something to think about, because success isn't just things we attain. Remember, it goes back to the little things, the compassion, the arm around somebody when they need it, maybe a hug if they need it, maybe a little assistance here and there if they need it, maybe advice, maybe just showing an act of kindness. All those little things are success. So as we are focused on the big thing, which is usually a career or some sort of life achievement, think about the little things along the way, the people that come into our lives each and every day. What successes can we achieve with them? What successes can we help them achieve? Maybe you're an educator and it's getting them through the day without a meltdown and maybe learning one thing. Maybe it's just that one thing. If you're a doctor or somebody else, maybe it's just that one thing that you help the patient not panic so much over a diagnosis. Whatever it might be, whatever you can do to help others get successful and not to forget about the little successes along the way. That's important too. 2 Steps Ahead podcast, encouraging you to take your passion, make it happen, and let yourself be great. I'm Son Edom. You can find us on Instagram. The show page is TWO, 2 Steps Ahead podcast. My personal page, if you're interested, is Edom Rocks, EIDEM ROCKS. The best place to go to find all things 2 Steps Ahead podcast is our website, radiowarp.com. That's radio, W-A-R-P, radiowarp.com. And again, our shows are live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern time. And then you can listen to the show live there. And then obviously after that, we release it online. We got the video on YouTube. We've got the audio on SoundCloud. The audio you can listen to pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts, like Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartMedia, all those things, or iHeart Podcasts. You can also just Google search TWO, 2 Steps Ahead podcast, or Hey Siri, Hey Alexa, Hey Google, and we pop up. We'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank you for being a part of the show. We really appreciate it. Without you, I would be talking to myself, which I guess would be fine too, because it's my passion and it's what I want to do. And I just hope that the things that are here, that you hear on here, might help you a little bit to encourage you. You can always reach out. You know, if you go to my personal Instagram or either Instagram page or even the radiowarp.com, there's ways to reach out to me. There's email. If you go to, let's say, the TWO, 2 Steps Ahead podcast Instagram page, you can always just click on the link. It's a Linktree link, and there's options there. And then you can also send me a direct message, or our email address is TWO, 2 Steps Ahead podcast at gmail.com. So if you want to reach out, find out more information, just someone to talk to, need that voice in the night, whatever it might be, feel free to reach out. Again, thanks for listening. Do tell a friend. Until next time, 2 Steps Ahead podcast, encouraging you to take your passion, make it happen, and let yourself be great.